Ulterior Motive. I've given that as my thumbnail today and the title of my film. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. It's something that I just came up with about half an hour ago. Anyway, I just want to say that this is my 10th video, and I made myself a promise at the start of January to make 10 videos by the end of the month. So over the last 12 days, I've done it. This is my 10th. So I'm just really pleased that I've managed to actually do that. And I've dressed up a little bit for the occasion. I've put a jacket on. I've got rid of my, I like to call my set behind, but it's basically just a couple of lights. I've got actually the light that I would normally have in the lamp over there. That's sitting there, and I've got rid of the coloured lights, which seems to be the general sort of consensus. You should have coloured lights behind you. So, but just to mix it up a little bit, I've got rid of the coloured lights today. Now, the hard thing about this video is talking about what I've learned over these 10 videos. It's pretty hard work. So I have to say to anybody who's done this at all, talked to a camera, sat in a room, talked to a camera, uploaded YouTube videos, got their own channel together, well done, because it really is quite hard work. I don't recommend doing a video every single day for the rest of your life. If you're just starting out, I do recommend doing it like that, bang, 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 because you really get a sense of what's involved. This place is a complete tip at the moment because I've been moving cameras around and put lights up and all sorts of things. And in the morning I tend to write something. I come up with what do I want to say today, and I write something. In the early afternoon I'll record it, and then late afternoon into the evening I'll edit it and put it out. And very often I will use an auto cue, which makes life a little bit easier because you know it's easy to forget at my age if you just repeat yourself or something. So I like using an auto cue. I'm not using one today, as you can quite possibly tell. So the danger of that, of course, is that you end up just rambling on. You do learn an awful lot about yourself just doing 10 videos. First of all, of course, you've got to get used to the fact of looking at yourself on a screen and hearing yourself. A lot of people, of course, have problems getting used to their own voice because it's not like it is in your own head. I've got used to that fairly quickly now. I've sort of got used to my real voice, as it were. I'm finding it a little bit harder to deal with the age. Now, you don't know me, I don't think. So you don't know that I used to be younger than this. You've always assumed that this is my age. I mean, it is my age. But it reminds me of something that my mum said not long before she died, which was that she says, I don't really like old age because there's certain things you can't do anymore, and your body just, you look old. You just look old. She said, but in my head, I feel exactly the same as I did when I was a little girl. And I completely identify with that. Not the little girl bit necessarily, but everything else. You do feel that you're still kind of like 30 or something, and you want to get out there and create things. And then you look at the edit and you go, oh my God, look at the jowls and everything like that. I didn't know. So yeah, that's something. But again, it's something that you come to terms with, and it's something you have to do. Now, I've mentioned before that I've worked with a lot of journalists. I've worked with a lot of actors, but also a lot of journalists in the past. And there's a big difference between them. Actors want to do things again. They want to get it right. When you're doing drama, you want to make sure the lighting's right. You want to make sure that everything's pretty much as near perfect as you can get it. And then it's made better in the edit. Journalists, and this is the big difference between working with journalists and actors. Journalists they pride themselves on just getting it done first time. Doesn't matter what's behind them. Doesn't matter about lighting. Doesn't matter if there's a noise off. And so I think this is a bit more like being a journalist. You have to sort of forget the perfectionism and deal more with the professionalism. You know, if you've got a deadline to meet, you've got to do this. Because, of course, they have deadlines to meet, so they've got to get this for the 6 o'clock news. And in a way, YouTube operates like that. Everybody's talking about the algorithm. Oh, the algorithm does this. And so we, as content creators, are kind of like serving this algorithm. And the algorithm demands that you upload films all the time. And then if people start watching your films, then it goes, that's popular. I will serve those to more people. And that's how you start making money. That's the theory. So we're constantly serving this robot thing, basically. And I find that a little bit tricky. And I think that's where my idea of ulterior motive comes in. I was thinking about that earlier, because I've never been a big fan of social media. I don't tend to do it, and I don't tend to put things on Facebook and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes you're out with somebody and they do. You know, they say, "Oh, just take pictures, and I'll upload it," and it has to be uploaded. And you think, "Oh, people really need to see this? What we're eating? Can't we get away?" But of course, they pick up their phone, taking pictures of you. And I kind of think that in an evolutionary way, we'll change. As a species, we will change. You know, everyone will sort of be like this, or like that. You know, so we'll get pouty lips and smiley faces just because that's what people do now with their selfies and things. I never do selfies, and so this is a big time selfie. Doing a YouTube thing is, of course, a big time selfie. What I mean by ulterior motive is, I've always thought that if a government, American government, British government, whatever, had said years ago, "Look, to all you citizens out there, we would like you to carry a little card on you that says who you are, and we will know where you are at any one time, and we'll know everything about you, what you do, what your interests are. Is that okay?" Everyone would say, "Absolutely not." They'd be up in arms about it. And then what happened? Along came Apple and Samsung, and they said, "Look at these really cool devices that you can have and you can use, and all you have to do is pay us £50 a month or something." And everyone says, "Wow, yeah, that's great," not realizing that they're now actually paying for the very device that knows where you are, that knows what your interests are, that knows everything about you, where you shop, how much you spent, how much you've earned, things like that. So I find that's what I mean by the ulterior motive. The big companies want to know about you, and they get you to pay them to do it. It's kind of genius. And so I've always been kind of against, that I don't like being on Facebook. I don't like saying this is me. I'm much more of a sort of private person. And so putting out a YouTube thing seems to go completely against that. But I was a performer, I was an actor. So doing something creative to an audience is probably the most natural thing in the world, which is why I think YouTube suits me better than any of the other kind of social networks. Basically, I think YouTube is great because it's out there. It's you can make it really nice. And I was a camera operator as well on video, so I want to make nice pictures, and I want to make great content. I still don't know quite what that is, but I would say that to anyone who's in the same predicament, if you just want to be creative, just do this. Talk to a camera. And just see where it leads. Now that's the other thing. As a YouTube channelist, I've noticed when watching YouTube channels, the really successful ones, there's never any doubt. The really successful ones don't seem to have doubt. They don't sort of say, "I don't know whether this is the best way of getting views or this. I don't know if this is the best." They say, "Hey, you need to do this, and you need to do this now." They shout at you, and let me teach you this. This is the way to do it. They don't say, "This might be the way to do it. You might have a better way, or someone else might." It's that kind of level of thinking. You have to be very direct. There's something that's common in YouTube videos, channels, dramas, and everything really, and that's a sense of story. Documentaries even is a sense of story. Now, in the YouTube world, they'll talk about your thumbnail. You've got to grab them with a thumbnail. Then you've got to hook them into your story. And then you've got to deliver your story. And it has to be a level of entertainment that keeps people watching, because we're serving the algorithm, and you need to keep viewers. You don't want it to drop away after just 10 seconds. And so everything's about story, and you start to see stories everywhere. You kind of think, "Oh, that would be a good story." And for example, I was walking down the street yesterday, and I saw this lying in the road, a lamppost. And I thought, "Oh, well, somebody's run into the lamppost because there's a dent halfway down it." And then this particular lamppost, rather ironically, had a speed sign on it, so it's a 20-mile-an-hour zone. And I thought, well, that tells its own story, doesn't it? This lamppost has been knocked over. It's a 20-mile-an-hour zone. Just that little thing tells a story. There's a story beyond it. Who was driving? How did they hit that? Were they doing 20 miles an hour? There's the story. How did that happen? Now, what you put behind you, what's in the picture is quite important, I think. Some people, and I don't know how they do this, make really beautiful films. We all know that. They make really beautiful films and put them out on YouTube. They must spend ages putting that together, lighting it, filming, long shots, medium close-ups, all that. So it's just, they must spend forever putting that together. Other people they don't care about the camera equipment. They don't care about the lighting. As long as they've got a camera or a phone that will record them, and some microphone somewhere that will pick them up, they can put it out there and they're happy with that. And a lot of them, it works for them because they've got that a kind of charisma. If you're involved in their story, you watch it and you don't think, oh, well, that's badly lit. I don't like that. What an awful lot of people do, and I think probably the way that I would tend to go, is to have a set or a background. They've found a bit of background somewhere in the house, or if they're very lucky, a studio. That would be the ideal thing, and 2 or 3 cameras on your space to have 2 or 3 cameras around you. And then things in the background that are, kind of interesting. It might change. And so you might put something like this, a car or something, just some sort of objects like a car. Or if you're doing films about making films, something like this. This is my old cine camera that I've had since I was about 18 years old. I don't even know if that still works. But yeah, you might put those kind of things in the background. You might light the background, which I've done. You might throw it out of focus a little bit. All of those things, I think, kind of just make it a little bit more interesting. So I think I would probably do that. I did quite like my video yesterday, walking around in the park with 2 cameras. And I thought, well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe having 2 or even 3 cameras around you, some kind of little structure where you can, talk to 2 or 3 cameras. It will make you look a little bit stupid. And, the locals will point you out to their children and things. Maybe the police. But I think that might. I quite enjoyed it more than I thought I would, actually. Just going out and walking around with a camera and talking to a camera, even when people are going past you. I quite enjoyed that. I've struggled with niche. I don't know quite what niche to go with, because I think that you can teach something, but I don't think there's anything necessary that I can teach. I certainly couldn't teach it better than millions of people that you can see in the world. You can find them. If you want to learn about Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve or something like that, there are people that will teach you all that. CapCut, I've never even used CapCut, so I can't teach you that. Don't even ask me to teach you that. And I don't really feel that I am a teacher. You don't really need to worry too much about your niche, because your audience will find you in a way. You have to be yourself. You have to find a way of being yourself, or putting across a version of yourself that you want. Could be in a character form, could be whatever. But your audience will find you, and if they like that, then that's done. So it's not really up to you it's not really up to me to find you. It's up to you to find me. So yeah, the thing that keeps coming back to me when I think of niche is, should I hide behind a character? I was an actor, so I like to hide behind characters. I don't particularly like doing this, talking direct to the camera as me. If you are thinking of starting a YouTube channel, or if you are doing a YouTube channel, it is pretty therapeutic, and you do find out things about yourself, and which I think are kind of worth it in a way. It's worth doing just for that. But I like hiding behind a character. So I'm thinking, would anyone want to see a character? Is that something that people want to see, a character? Well, I suppose there's Jonathan Pye. He gets by with doing a character talking direct to camera. He's come up with a very clever little trick as why he would talk to a camera, because he's a news presenter talking to camera, and the comedy is that when he's off camera, he can talk to his director and stuff like that directly. So that's a clever little trick. So coming up with a character, but I did that 10 years before with Spoof Millionaire, and I found that some people believed it was a most absurd character. I had a ridiculous wig and a little earpiece in all the time, and it was, to me, it was obvious, and a big pair of orange glasses. To me, it was obvious that he wasn't real. He was a character. He was a spoof millionaire telling you how to get rich quick, and it was quite clear that he wasn't rich. But some of the comments were that, that's a scam, and don't really believe you. And so I thought, oh God, people, although it's obviously a character, people believed in him. It's like, an Ali G type interview. You sort of, how does he do that? I don't know. But it's that kind of thing. Some people believe that he's real and they get angry at the character, and then he still has to keep a straight face. I don't know how you do that, but it's great fun. And I'm kind of thinking that if I was going in any direction, that's where I would go, because I can't imagine what I'm going to talk about every week for 50 weeks of the year that would keep people coming back. Then there's the fact that you have to, each video kind of has to live on its own. It's not like you have a series. Maybe I'm missing something in YouTube. Maybe you can see them in order. I know you can go newest and all that, so maybe you can see them in order from, so you can possibly do a series. But it's not like a TV series where you do this and there's a cliffhanger at the end and then, tune in next week. It seems to be that each video has to have a hook. It has to lure you in to watch the video. And then, you watch it, and if you like that person, you might subscribe, and you might watch 2 or 3 of the other videos. And when it comes into your feed, you might watch them. But it's not like a series. And what I found about watching other people's videos is, after they've done several hundred videos, they assume that you know them. So they'll say, you know about me this. And you think, no, I don't. This is the first time I've ever seen you. And I find that's quite tricky, that people might come in on video 792, but you've still got to introduce yourself, say, this is me, win them over, and then they might watch some of the other videos. It has always struck me that if this algorithm that we're all pandering to is going to take over the world one day, and humans will disappear, and it will just be the algorithm, and it will still be serving up YouTube videos to other algorithms. And you get, I don't know on your feed, but I get feeds come up on my computer that sort of says, oh, look, you can write this book. You don't even need to write it. AI will write it for you, and you can put it out there, and you can make lots of money. And I think, well, what's the point of that? I mean, what's the point of me? So why don't I come up with an algorithm that you don't even have to read? The people that can buy the book, they don't even have to read it. An algorithm can do that. So an algorithm writes it, an algorithm reads it, cut out the middleman altogether. And one day that will be the case. The algorithm will be the only thing that's left. The robots will take over, and maybe, humans will disappear. And maybe one day some people will come from, people, that's peopleist, isn't it? Some creatures, some species will come from a different planet, and they'll have a look, and they'll go to wherever YouTube things are served. And that's another thing. Where are they kept? There must be one massive server building somewhere. It must be about the size of Texas, and it's probably based in somewhere like Texas. So that must be massive. And one day these aliens will come in millions of years, and they'll look back on us. And what will they make of it? What will they make of the fact that we're all sat alone in rooms talking to a camera? They won't know the audience were there. They won't know that. The whole thing's crazy for people of my generation. Talking to a camera, doing this, talk about anything, it's crazy. But you somehow feel drawn to it, that you've got to do it. And that if I give up now, then I think I'll regret it. Because I want to see if it is possible to go to another level. I'm not expecting to get my 1,000 subscribers or whatever. I'm not expecting to get money. But even if you get $20 or something, it must be such a thrill to think you got paid because some people watched that and they stayed to watch the adverts, so you get a bit of money. And if you get to the millions and millions and all that sort of stuff, yeah, it would be good to know what that's like. I think I'm too old for that. I don't think I'll get there. Don't think that that's what's going to happen. Do it because you enjoy it. That's the lesson. Do it because you enjoy it, and you kind of hope that maybe it'll take off, and that maybe you'll find that, you do get a trickle of money coming in, and then it's worth it. That was the other thing that happened this very morning. I got a letter from the government. And I hate opening those brown envelopes, letter from the government, because it usually says, you still owe us another £2,000 tax, which you forgot about, so we're going to fine you £1,000. But it wasn't. It said, you can apply now for your pension, because I've become pension age 66 later this year. So I can now apply, and I'll get £4.80 a month or something like that. So I won't need YouTube money. But I still want to chase after it. So let's go for those 100,000 million viewers, and let's see if we can make this work. Somehow, I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back.